Hello and welcome back to my channel, Marian Motherhood. I hope you're all well, and I also want to thank you for taking a moment of your day to listen to my testimonies and to my videos. Today I would like to share with you on the topic of providence, divine providence, and how divine providence plays a big part in our lives, in our family life, and how it helps us to be in constant growth of our trust in God. And really pushes us to fully abandon ourselves into His divine providence and blindly trust the will of God at all times. I'd like to begin with a Bible verse, Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 to 34, where it says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" And it continues to talk about how we should not worry about the material things of this world, and how we will acquire these basic material needs, as much as we should worry about fulfilling God's will at all times, and be more worried about getting into the kingdom of heaven. And my husband and I really do see this verse it's very evident within our family, our marriage, and we see how consistently God really does provide us with material needs, spiritual needs, in His own time and in His own way. One thing I do want to explain is divine providence. What exactly is divine providence? For us, for me, for our family, divine providence is seeing the power of God manifest in our life, and seeing how He always comes through, giving us exactly what we need in the perfect timing. And He manifests Himself through the people around us, people who think of us. Of course, it's very easy to think, well, that's just the kindness of people. That's people being generous towards you. What does that have to do with God? And to which I respond, God only has people to work with, to use. Throughout all of history, God has used people as His instruments to make Himself known to us, and to make Himself be heard and seen in the world. So of course, God is not going to come down and say, for example, here are the diapers that you needed. He works through our friends, our families, our communities. Everyone has a conscience. Some people have a more acute conscience, but everyone has a soul within them, a conscience that helps them, makes decisions, guides them in their own way. And so for me, divine providence is when God moves someone's conscience to think of us, moves their heart, and to think of us, to have us in mind, and to think maybe they could use some diapers, or have these extra clothes, and they say maybe Angela and Alexis may need these clothes, and hence divine providence comes to our door and to our house. And so divine providence is receiving things through the generosity and the kindness of other people. Another thing I want to make clear is when I say that our family, in a lot of ways, lives thanks to divine providence, that doesn't mean that my husband and I are sitting at home, arms crossed, waiting for divine providence to appear. We have, as I mentioned before, 4 children, and we have that responsibility. Our responsibility is to take care of our 4 children, to clothe them, to feed them, to give them what they need at all times, and to take care and to provide for our family. We're not sitting at home saying we have 4 children, but it's okay, no worries, God will provide, God will provide. And here we are, relaxed at home, waiting for divine providence to appear. As I always say, God is not stupid, and God helps those who help themselves. So of course, we have a duty and a responsibility to take care of our family. My husband and I both work, and with the dignity of work, we raise our family. That being said, God sees the work that we do to raise our children and to provide for our children. As I said, it's a big responsibility. It's a moral responsibility. However, God sees that, and in turn, He acts through His divine providence, supplying us where we are not able to, or where He sees fit. And this responsibility, this moral obligation, is made clear in the Bible verse, Timothy 5:8, where it says, "Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." We do trust in divine providence, and we know that God is our shepherd who takes care of His sheep. And God has blessed us with 4 children, and He will provide for these 4 children as well as us. So to explain a little bit, my husband works in the maintenance department at an archdiocesan school, and I work in another archdiocesan school as what they call here in Spain a conversation assistant, an English conversation assistant. So we both earn a modest salary, and with our salaries, obviously, we raise our family of 6, while also in a major way living through divine providence. So we have 4 small children, ages 4 and under, and it's interesting the number of times that we are walking around town, walking around the city, and people look at us with our 4 children, and they just have this look of kind of disbelief on their face and shock on their face. And I'm sure if they also knew just exactly how much my husband and I earned together, they would probably think that we are irresponsible, that we aren't using our head, that we are crazy. The number of times that we've been walking as a family and people have said to us, how can you have so many children with the way things are in the world? Prices going up. You should stop now. Things that should be kept to themselves, but they say this to us. They think we're not using our heads. We haven't thought it through of how we're going to raise 4 children on the salaries that we earn, that we're crazy, all kinds of these types of thoughts running through their heads as they look at us with our family of 6. And I would like to say that we are not in need, in want of anything. We pay our monthly bills, of course, as responsible citizens. We don't have a luxurious lifestyle. We don't have many luxuries, but we have a beautiful home that we enjoy. We have food on the table. We have clothes. And most importantly, our children are happy and they have what they need, which are two loving parents and a peaceful home to come home to and to be in and to laugh and to enjoy each other's company in. With all that being said, I do want to share with you specific moments and points in our family life where we've seen God's divine providence. When our son Pablo was born, the amount of diapers that came to our house, I don't think we bought diapers for our son until he was about 6 months old. And baby supplies is pretty expensive. So again, God's divine providence, for me, it was just such a sign saying, I have blessed you, I have given you a child, and I will take care of that child along with you. I will be there to provide for this child of mine. After all, our children are more so God's children that he commends to us while on earth. So for me, it was just God reassuring me that as I bless you with a family, I will also provide for that family. My 3 little girls, the clothes that they own, that they have, I would say about 90% is thanks to divine providence. They are very well dressed. I think another thing that for me is really makes me feel loved by God is not only do we receive clothes for my girls, the clothes are clothes that I actually like. All kinds of clothes can come to our home, which are more than welcome, but they're very nice clothes. They're expensive, good quality clothes that I would not be able to afford. And I love the way my little girls are dressed. And it's thanks to divine providence. It's like God, even on top of providing these clothes, he goes a step further and thinks of me and gives me the clothes that I actually like and the style that I like. So that's just God's love shown through these details. And of course, we have 3 girls, but the good thing about having 3 girls is that they just inherit each other's clothes. So I think it's also sometimes people don't or forget to think that having so many kids, it's not like you're constantly in need of buying things for a newborn. They just inherit their siblings' clothes. As I have mentioned in previous videos, my husband is still very involved in the community where he spent 6 years of his life. And thanks to the generosity of this community, where they have a beautiful garden, vegetable garden, and they are constantly giving us lettuce, tomatoes, potatoes, fruit. So there is a lot of divine providence through this community, material wise. And then we recently joined another community, and this community has been providential spiritually speaking. They have been the greatest spiritual providence that came about right when we needed kind of a community in which to support ourselves spiritually. We had the blessing of having a Brazilian community here for about a couple of years, but they left, and my husband and I had become really involved with that community. And when they left, we just felt so not abandoned, but like, who do we turn to now? Our spiritual director had gone. It was the priest. He was also our confessor, and we just kind of felt lost. like our shepherd, our pastor had gone and left us here. And it was right around that time also, God showed us another community, which we are now part of, and they have just been a huge gift and blessing spiritually for us and for our faith and for our marriage, and to really make sure that we are doing the will and helping us to see the will of God at every moment. So again, divine providence not only comes through material things. Many times we also experience divine providence spiritually, and this community has been one of those times. I also want to point out that we receive so much through people's generosity, through the community, through friends. But divine providence, we also give. It's very important as one receives to also give that divine providence which one has received. And be divine providence for other people. Another example is I just had my 4th child. She's now 4 months old. Here in Spain we have 4 months maternity leave, so it's about to end in a couple of weeks. I am going back to work, and so I will have to send her to childcare. And so I have to, buy baby milk formula, make sure I have diapers, everything she needs for school, for daycare. And we received a few weeks ago a ton of formula, of baby formula. And again, for me, just God provides for us right at His perfect timing. God's timing is perfect. Baby, like I said before, all baby things are very expensive. Formula is pretty expensive. And now that I'm starting to bottle feed her, right then and there, as I'm about to send her to daycare, we receive baby formula. So again, God's constantly telling us and showing us that He has our back, that He's supporting us, that He will provide for us, that we need not worry about anything. And all the times that He shows Himself through divine providence, He asks us to live this this Bible verse that I read. And He really wants us to put that into practice and live out this gospel. I also think of divine providence. I actually heard this the first time through the nun who founded the community where my husband spent 6 years. She used to say to the community that divine providence isn't always getting. Many times divine providence is not having. For example, if they didn't have sugar, well, then they'd have coffee without sugar. You do without also, and that is also divine providence. God shows Himself also in the not having. And then the last thing I want to share is many times divine providence for me personally has come in the form of gifts. And this makes me feel so loved by God that He doesn't only want to provide us with our basic needs, but He provides us with our basic needs and more, and surprises us with these gifts. And I want to share with you a few things that have come to me that I see them as gifts, that God thought of me and wanted to give me these gifts through His divine providence. So when we moved into this apartment, I told my husband that I really wanted a rug for the living room. It'd be really beautiful. Rugs were also expensive, so we weren't in a position to buy a rug. But I just, had this desire. Again, not necessary, but it would be nice. I always wanted a rug for my living room. The months go by, and what happens? My husband one day comes home with a beautiful rug, perfect for our living room. I literally, again, it's just like, it's like I'm receiving a hug from God, and this love that He's saying, I'm thinking of you, Angela. You are my child. I have your family in the palm of my hand. You know, these small details. Another example, when Pablo was born, I wanted like a rocking chair. I said, I wish we had a rocking chair because while I'm breastfeeding, it would be nice, it would be peaceful, it would just make the whole experience better for me, I guess, and more beautiful for me. Again, rocking chair, not necessary, but I thought it would just be nice to have a rocking chair while I was kind of breastfeeding my newborn. And what do you know? My husband comes home and he brings me a rocking chair that I have used for all 4 children. I love it and I'm so thankful for it. Last thing is, again, this is a completely unnecessary gadget. It's a kitchen gadget, but it's called a milk frother. Basically, it's this little machine that you turn on and it makes your milk frothy. And it's just nicer to have in your cup of coffee. And it just looks nice and it feels it feels cozier drinking a coffee with frothy milk. But obviously I wasn't going to spend, it probably only costs about $10, but obviously I wasn't going to spend $10 on a milk frother. And what do you know, this happened actually a few weeks ago. My husband came home with some divine providence and I see a box and I open the box and it was a milk frother. And it's just, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a milk frother. This is what, you know, I kind of wanted to drink my coffee with, to make my coffee with. And again, it's just like this huge smile comes upon my face because I'm thinking, God, this is so unnecessary. These aren't things that I need. These are just things that I want. Yet you want to give them to me also. You want to shower me with gifts as well. So I just feel very, very blessed. And again, just being a testimony to the fact that those who follow God's will, those who live with God, God does not abandon, and God always provides for them. Again, not always in the way we expect, not always in the way we want, but in his perfect way and his perfect timing. It's really trusting divine providence and believing this gospel that I shared, that we should not worry about what we're to eat or what we're to wear. Our main focus as a family in raising our family is, sanctifying our children, sanctifying each other, and passing on the faith, trying to have a God-centered family, and everything else is in God's hands. So thank you for again listening to me share with you how divine providence plays a big part in our family. Also, to give hope to any of you who maybe are going through difficulties financially or within your family, to really trust in God and pray to God to give you the necessary things that you specifically need, be things spiritually or materially, to keep going and raise your family. And God would not fail you. He never fails us. So just keeping this gospel in your heart and in your mind, in whatever difficulties you may be encountering. Obviously, always putting our part in first. I think it's Padre Pio who says, pray as if everything depended on God, but do act as if everything depended on you. So again, putting whatever we can to provide for our family, and then leaving the rest into God's divine providence, and He will provide. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye.